When you first open your eyes to greet the day, your mind is in a most receptive state. The veil between your conscious and subconscious mind is thinner than at any other time. What you impress upon your consciousness in these moments will sink deep into the subconscious, where all creation begins. Your subconscious does not reason or argue. It simply accepts what you feel to be true and then proceeds to express it in the world of form. Many of you awaken to immediately rehearse your problems, your limitations, your ailments. You rise on the assumption that today will be a continuation of yesterday's struggles. And so it becomes, for you have commanded it to be so. But I tell you now, with the authority of one who has tested this law countless times, that you can completely revolutionize your life by revolutionizing those false thoughts of your day. Let me share with you what I know to be true. Your imagination is the very gateway to the fulfillment of your desires. Imagination creates reality. Whatever you assume to be true, though it be false, will harden into fact in your experience. Therefore, those morning affirmations, when impregnated with feeling and conviction, become the blueprints from which your day and ultimately your life will be built. Now, what do I mean by affirmations? I do not speak of empty, mechanical repetitions of pleasant phrases. No, I speak of conscious feeling assumptions, statements of truth that you accept and feel to be real right now in the present moment. For remember always, the feeling is the secret. It is not enough to merely say the words, you must feel their reality. When you affirm in the morning, I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy, do not make the mistake of acknowledging a gap between this statement. Instead, enter fully into the feeling of this statement as already true. Feel the wholeness, the perfection, the strength flowing through your being. Feel the love and harmony surrounding you. Feel the deep, abiding happiness that is your natural state. For what is an affirmation but a state of consciousness temporarily assumed? And if persisted in, this state becomes your dwelling place. The secret is to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not as something that will be, but as something that already is. Now let me explain why your morning affirmations are so powerful. When you sleep, your conscious, reasoning mind rests, but your subconscious mind continues its tireless work. Upon awakening, there is a moment, a precious golden moment, when you are between worlds, between the sleep state and full waking consciousness. In this twilight state, your subconscious mind is most receptive, most impressionable. If in this moment you assume a new concept of self, if you clothe yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are performing a spiritual act of the highest order. You are exercising your divine prerogative to create, to call forth that which you desire to experience. Many of you know the scripture. In the beginning was the Word. The Word is your inner conversation, that which you tell yourself to be true. And if in the beginning of your day, you declare with conviction the truth of your divine nature, the limitless power that flows through you, the abundance that surrounds you, then by law these conditions must externalize in your world. I have known men and women who have completely transformed their lives through this practice alone. They have gone from sickness to health, from poverty to wealth, from loneliness to love, simply by changing their first thoughts of the day. For when you change your consciousness, you change your world. Let me tell you of a friend who came to me in dire financial straits. He had lost his business, his savings were depleted, and creditors were at his door. I instructed him to create a simple morning ritual. Upon awakening, before rising from his bed, he was to feel the joy and relief of financial abundance. I told him to mentally count money, to feel crisp bills in his hands, to experience the emotion of writing checks with ease, to feel the security of substantial bank balances. For 3 weeks, he faithfully practiced this morning ritual, allowing himself to feel wealthy before his feet ever touched the floor. In less than a month, an unexpected opportunity arose. A chance meeting with a former business associate led to a partnership that not only resolved his immediate financial crisis, but eventually brought him greater wealth than he had ever known. Was this coincidence? No, it was law. Remember, your consciousness is the one and only reality. All phenomena are simply its projection. Therefore, to change the projection, you must change the source, your consciousness. And your morning affirmations, saturated with feeling, are the most direct route to this transformation. Now, let me be very specific about the type of affirmations that yield the greatest results. First, they must always be stated in the present tense. I am is the most powerful phrase in any language. Not I will be or I hope to become, but I am, for your consciousness can only operate in the present moment. Second, your affirmations must embrace the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not the words, but the feeling behind them that makes them effective. As you affirm, I am abundantly supplied, feel the relief, the security, the freedom that comes with abundant supply. As you declare, I am vibrantly healthy, feel the energy, the vitality, the well-being flowing through every cell of your body. Third, your affirmations should be stated with absolute conviction as irrefutable facts. There must be no doubt, no mental argument against them. This is why I often recommend that you phrase your affirmations in terms of your essential spiritual nature, which transcends all temporary conditions. When you affirm, I am pure spirit, perfect, whole and complete, no one, not even your rational mind, can argue with this ultimate truth of your being. From this foundation of spiritual truth, you can then expand to include the specific expressions of this truth that you wish to experience. Let me now give you a series of powerful morning affirmations that, if used consistently with feeling and conviction, will transform your life. I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. Divine intelligence expresses through me, guiding all my decisions and actions. Feel the truth of this statement. Feel the divine intelligence flowing through every cell of your being, directing your thoughts, inspiring your choices. Feel the mastery, the authority you possess as a spiritual being having a human experience. I am abundantly supplied with everything I need to live a rich, full, happy life. My supply comes from God, an unlimited source. As you affirm this, feel the absolute security of knowing that you are eternally connected to an inexhaustible supply. Feel the freedom from worry, the release from anxiety about material needs. Feel how it relaxes your body and expands your breathing. I am surrounded by love. All my relationships are harmonious and fulfilling. I give love freely, and it returns to me multiplied. Feel the warmth of loving relationships enveloping you. Feel how loved and appreciated you are. Feel your heart open to give and receive love in ever-increasing measure. I am vibrantly healthy and full of energy. Divine life flows through me, renewing my body and mind with each breath. Feel the vitality coursing through your veins. Feel the strength in your muscles, the clarity in your mind. Feel yourself moving with ease and grace through your day. I am successful in all my undertakings. Everything I touch prospers and succeeds. I am divinely guided to my right work, which I perform in a wonderful way. Feel the satisfaction of achievement, the joy of expressing your talents and abilities. Feel the confidence of knowing that success is your natural state. I am at peace with myself and all of life. Divine harmony governs all my relationships and circumstances. I move through my day in perfect peace. Feel the tranquility settling into your being. Feel the release of all tension, all conflict. Feel yourself centered in an unshakable peace that transcends all external conditions. I am open and receptive to all the good that life has to offer. Wonderful experiences come to me each day. I expect miracles. Feel the excitement and anticipation of wonderful experiences about to unfold. Feel your consciousness expanding to receive greater good than you have ever known. Now I urge you to select 3 or 4 of these affirmations that resonate most deeply with you, or create your own that speak to your particular desires and needs. Write them down. Place them beside your bed. And each morning before you rise, before you engage with the outside world, spend just a few minutes dwelling in the feeling of these statements as already true. This is not merely positive thinking. This is the conscious exercise of your creative power. This is you actively participating in the creation of your life experience. This is the proper use of the law that governs all manifestation. Many will say, but Neville, how can I affirm abundance when my bills are piling up? How can I declare perfect health when my body is in pain? How can I claim happy relationships when I am alone or in conflict? And to this I answer, you must be bold enough to deny the evidence of your senses and affirm the truth of your imagination. Remember, your senses show you only the harvest of your past thinking. Your imagination is the seedbed of your future experience. If you continue to affirm what your senses dictate, you will continue to experience the same conditions. But if you dare to imagine and feel a new state as already existing, this new state will become your reality. This requires faith. Not faith in something outside yourself, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. Faith in the law that declares imagination creates reality. And this faith is not blind, it is built on experimentation and experience. Test it for yourself. Prove its validity in the laboratory of your own life. I challenge you to commit to this practice for just 30 days. For 1 month, make it your unwavering discipline to begin each day with conscious feeling affirmations that align with your desires. Do not be concerned with the how or the when of their manifestation. Your responsibility is only to plant the seed in fertile soil, the soil of your receptive subconscious mind, and then to nurture it with continued faith and expectancy. Many of you make the mistake of affirming one thing in the morning and then spending the rest of the day contradicting it with negative thoughts and conversations. Remember, it is your dominant consciousness that manifests, not your occasional thoughts. Therefore, let your morning affirmations set the tone for your entire day. When challenges arise, as they invariably will, return to the feeling of your morning affirmations. When old patterns of thought attempt to reassert themselves, gently but firmly bring your attention back to the new concept of self you have chosen to embody. Persistence is key. For as you persist in the new assumption, it gains strength and momentum until it becomes your predominant state. Now, I wish to touch upon a profound truth that will enhance the power of your morning practice. Everything in your world is a reflection of your consciousness. Every person, every circumstance, every event is mirroring back to you your beliefs, assumptions, and expectations. Therefore, as you change your consciousness through your morning affirmations, prepare to witness corresponding changes in your outer experience. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will appear where before there seemed to be none. Conditions that appeared fixed and immutable will begin to shift. For when you change, your world changes. It must, for it is only responding to the patterns in your consciousness. Let me share another case history to illustrate this principle. A woman who attended my lectures was caught in a cycle of troubled relationships. Each partner she attracted seemed to embody the same qualities she despised: unreliability, dishonesty, emotional unavailability. I suggested she begin each morning with this affirmation: I am now experiencing a relationship filled with love, honesty, and mutual respect. I am loved completely for who I am. Initially, she resisted, arguing that this statement contradicted her reality. But I urged her to focus not on what had been or what seemed to be, but on what she desired to experience. Finally, she agreed to try the experiment. For several weeks, nothing in her outer world changed, but she remained faithful to her morning practice, feeling the joy and security of being in a loving, respectful relationship. Then something remarkable occurred. She began to notice subtle shifts in how others treated her. Colleagues showed her more consideration. Friends became more attentive to her needs. Even strangers seemed to extend greater courtesy. Within 3 months, she met a man unlike any she had known before, someone who embodied the very qualities she had been affirming. Today, they share a relationship that reflects the consciousness she deliberately cultivated through her morning practice. Her outer world rearranged itself to match her inner assumptions. This is the law, operating with mathematical precision. Your consciousness is the cause. Your experience is the effect. As within, so without. As above, so below. I urge you to approach your morning affirmations not as a mechanical exercise, but as a sacred ritual. A time when you commune with the divine creative power within you and consciously direct it toward the fulfillment of your desires. Let it be a time of reverence, of gratitude, of joyful expectancy. Begin by stilling your mind. Take several deep, conscious breaths. Release any tension in your body. Then, slowly and deliberately, speak your affirmations, either aloud or silently, feeling their truth with every fiber of your being. See them as accomplished facts. Experience the emotion of their fulfillment. Give thanks for their manifestation, even before you see evidence in the outer world. This attitude of gratitude is a powerful magnetic force that accelerates manifestation. For when you give thanks for something as though you have already received it, you acknowledge its reality in consciousness, which is the only place where any can be truly real before it appears in form. Now, some of you may be wondering, how long will it take for my affirmations to manifest in the visible world? The answer depends on several factors: the strength of your current beliefs, the intensity of feeling with which you imbue your new assumptions, and your ability to remain faithful to them, despite contrary appearances. Some manifestations will occur almost immediately, others may take weeks or months to fully materialize. But do not be concerned with timing. Your role is to establish the new state in consciousness and dwell there regardless of appearances. The law will take care of the how and the when. Remember the words of Scripture: in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. There is no need for strain, for anxiety, for constant checking to see if your desire is manifesting. Plant the seed, water it with faith, and allow it to grow according to its own divine timing. The most common mistake people make with affirmations is to use them as a form of mental magic, attempting to manipulate external conditions while remaining the same inwardly. But true transformation works from the inside out, not from the outside in. Your affirmations must change you, your self-concept, your beliefs, your feeling states, and then your world will change accordingly. Another mistake is to affirm one thing while continuing to fear or expect its opposite. Remember, your subconscious mind responds not only to your words but to the feeling and conviction behind them. If you affirm abundance while feeling fear about your bills, the feeling of fear will nullify the affirmation. This is why feeling is the secret. It is the feeling that impregnates the subconscious and brings forth manifestation. Let me now address those of you who find it difficult to believe in the power of these morning declarations. Perhaps you have tried affirmations in the past with little or no visible results. Perhaps you consider yourself too rational, too practical to engage in what seems like magical thinking. To you I say, approach this as a scientist approaches an experiment. Set aside your skepticism for 30 days. Follow the protocol exactly as I have outlined it. Commit to the practice with genuine openness and see what results you obtain. Judge not by theory but by experience. The pragmatic test of any principle is, does it work when applied? Countless individuals from all walks of life, of all temperaments and backgrounds, have tested this law and proven its efficacy. They have transformed their health, their relationships, their careers, their financial circumstances through the conscious, persistent use of affirmations charged with feeling. You need not accept my word for this. You need only try it for yourself. For 30 days, begin each morning with affirmations that align with your desires. Feel their reality. Live from the assumption that what you are affirming is already true. Then observe the changes that occur, not only in your external circumstances, but in your own attitudes, perceptions, and emotional states. For remember, the first transformation occurs within. As you consistently affirm and feel a new concept of self, you begin to think different thoughts, make different choices, take different actions. You interact with others from a new level of consciousness. And this internal shift is what ultimately produces the external changes you desire. Let me emphasize once more, the purpose of your morning affirmations is not to verbally persuade the universe to give you what you want. It is to impress upon your own subconscious mind the truth of what you are declaring, so that this truth may express itself through you and around you. Your subconscious mind is your faithful servant. It will outpicture in your experience whatever you impress upon it with feeling and conviction. This is why you must guard the door of your mind with vigilance, especially in those receptive moments when you first awaken. For what you accept as true in consciousness must, by law, objectify itself in your world. Now, some of you may be thinking, is it really so simple? Can I truly change my life just by changing my thoughts and feelings each morning? And to this I answer, yes, It is that simple, though not always easy. For the patterns of thought and feeling you have established over many years have created grooves in consciousness that may require persistent effort to redirect. But I assure you, with absolute conviction born of my own experience and the experiences of countless others, that this practice faithfully followed will transform your life beyond your present imagining. For you are not dealing with theory or wishful thinking. You are applying the fundamental creative law of the universe. In the beginning, you may need to remind yourself throughout the day of the new state you claimed in the morning. Old thought patterns may attempt to reassert themselves. When they do, gently but firmly bring your attention back to your chosen affirmations. Feel their truth again. Renew your commitment to dwelling in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. With practice, your new assumptions will gain strength and momentum. What initially required conscious effort will become your natural way of thinking and feeling. The new state will become your home, your dwelling place in consciousness. And as it does, your outer world will rearrange itself to reflect this inner transformation. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of persistence in this practice. The great law is not mocked. What you persist in assuming with feeling must express itself in your experience. It has no choice, for consciousness is the only reality, and forms must follow the patterns established through consciousness. So I say to you, be bold in your assumptions. Do not limit yourself based on past experience or current circumstances. Remember always that you are not bound by your history, you are bound only by your consciousness. And your consciousness can be changed through deliberate feeling affirmations. Begin each day by claiming the truth of your divine nature, the limitless possibilities that are your birthright. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the freedom of living from your desired state. Then move through your day from this new level of awareness, watching as the universe rearranges itself to match your dominant consciousness. For this is the promise: all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. Your morning affirmations, imbued with feeling and conviction, constitute the highest form of prayer. Not a petition to a power outside yourself, but a recognition of the power within you, the power of your own wonderful human imagination. This is the practical application of the great truth. Imagination creates reality. As you imagine and feel yourself to be, so you will become. As you assume and feel a new concept of self each morning, so will your world transform to reflect this new self-concept. I challenge you now to take this wisdom and apply it. Do not merely agree intellectually while continuing to live from your old assumptions. Test this law. Prove it in the laboratory of your own life. Begin tomorrow morning with a new approach to your day, a new concept of self, a new expectancy of good. Choose your affirmations carefully, ensuring they resonate with your deepest desires. Write them down. Place them where you will see them first thing upon awakening. Then, before engaging with the outer world, spend those precious first moments impressing them upon your consciousness with feeling and faith. Do this faithfully for 30 days, and I promise you will experience changes that may seem miraculous to others, but that you will understand as the natural operation of law. For when you change your consciousness, you change your life. It cannot be otherwise. Let your morning affirmations become the cornerstone of a new approach to living, an approach based not on reacting to conditions, but on creating them through the conscious direction of your imagination. For remember always, you are not a helpless observer of life, you are its author. The power that created the universe dwells within you as your own wonderful human imagination. When you awaken to this truth and begin to use this power consciously, deliberately, you step into your divine inheritance as a creative being. You become a conscious participant in your own evolution, shaping your life experience according to your highest vision. This is the promise of your morning affirmations. This is the gift you give yourself when you begin each day with conscious, feeling declarations of truth. This is the path to the fulfillment of your deepest desires. I have shown you the way. The rest is up to you. The choice is yours, as it has always been. You can continue to accept the suggestions of your senses, living by default, according to past patterns. Or you can exercise your divine prerogative to choose again, to reimagine yourself, to create anew from the limitless possibilities that exist in the pure potentiality of your consciousness. Choose wisely, for as you choose in consciousness, so shall you experience in life. And know that as you embark on this journey of conscious creation through your morning affirmations, you are fulfilling the highest purpose of your being, to know yourself as the divine creative power individualized as you. Begin tomorrow. Begin with faith. Begin with expectancy. Begin with the absolute knowing that as you plant these seeds in the fertile soil of your consciousness each morning, they must by law grow into manifestation. This is my promise to you, based not on theory, but on experience, not on hope, but on law. Test it. Prove it. Live it. And watch as your life transforms in ways more wonderful than you can presently imagine. For this is the true purpose of your being here, not to struggle, not to suffer, not to settle for less than the fullest expression of your divine potential, but to create consciously, joyfully, abundantly. And it all begins with those precious moments each morning when you first awaken and choose the thoughts and feelings that will shape your day and ultimately your life. Remember, your affirmations are not merely words, they are causes set in motion. Speak them with reverence, with conviction, with the absolute knowing that what you declare with feeling must materialize in your world. For such is the law, such is the promise, such is your power. Now go forth and create magnificently, beginning tomorrow morning and every morning thereafter. Your new life awaits you, ready to unfold in perfect accordance with your conscious feeling affirmations. The world is your mirror. Let it reflect back to you the divine truth of your being that you claim each morning upon awakening. For when you truly understand and apply this principle, you will join those who know the secret of secrets. Consciousness is the only reality, and you are the master of your consciousness. Change your consciousness through your morning affirmations, and you change your world. This is the law. This is the way. This is the truth that will set you free. Let us begin this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. For in these principles lies the key to your freedom, your peace, and your ultimate power. Principle 1, the power of consciousness. The first and most fundamental principle we must grasp is that consciousness is the only reality. Everything you perceive, everything you experience, every circumstance in your life is but an outpicturing of your consciousness. The world you see is a mirror, reflecting back to you your own mental states, your own assumptions about reality. Many of you may find this concept challenging to accept at first. You may argue, but Neville, I see a solid world around me. I feel it, I interact with it. Surely this is reality. To this I say, what you perceive as solid and real is nothing more than a shadow cast by the light of your conscience. Consider for a moment your dreams. When you're in a dream, does it not feel real? Do you not interact with people, touch objects, experience emotions? Yet when you awaken, you realize it was all a creation of your mind. I tell you now, what you call your waking life is no different. It is a dream, a grand collective dream, but a dream nonetheless. Once you truly grasp this principle, once you internalize it and live from it, you will understand that nothing can affect you unless you allow it to affect your consciousness. For you are not a powerless observer of reality, but the very creator of it. This understanding is the foundation upon which all else is built. It is the bedrock of your invincibility, the source of your power. For if consciousness is the only reality, and you are the master of your consciousness, then you are the master of your reality. But how do we wield this power? How do we shape our consciousness to create the reality we desire? This leads us seamlessly into our second principle. Principle 2, the law of assumption. The law of assumption states that if you assume a state to be true and persist in that assumption, it must harden into fact. This law is the cornerstone of creation, the very mechanism by which you shape your reality. When you assume a state, you are essentially declaring to the universe, this is who I am. This is what is true for me. And the universe, being nothing more than an outpicturing of your consciousness, has no choice but to conform to your assumption. But remember, my dear friends, this law works both ways. If you persistently assume limitation, lack, or fear, these two will harden into fact. This is why so many people find themselves trapped in cycles of negativity and misfortune. They are unwittingly assuming these states into existence. The key then is to consciously choose your assumptions. Assume states of abundance, of joy, of success, of love. Persist in these assumptions regardless of any seeming contradictions in your external reality. For remember, the external is but a shadow of your past assumptions. As you change your assumptions, the shadow must change to match the new shape of your consciousness. This principle of assumption is your shield against the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. For how can external circumstances affect you when you know that you are the very author of those circumstances? But assumption alone is not enough. To truly harness the power of this principle, we must understand the role of feeling, which brings us to our third principle. Principle 3, the importance of feeling. Now, as we delve deeper into these principles, we come to a crucial understanding. It is not enough to merely think about your desired state. You must feel it. You must embody it with every fiber of your being. Feeling is the secret, my dear listeners. It is the bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, between your current reality and your desired reality. When you can genuinely feel the reality of your desire, when you can live in the emotion of your wish fulfilled, you activate a power beyond your wildest imagination. Think for a moment of a time when you were deeply in love. Recall the feeling, the emotion of it. How did it color your world? How did it affect your perceptions, your actions, your very being? This is the power of feeling. It transforms you from the inside out. In the same way, when you can feel the reality of desire, when you can live in the emotion of your wish fulfilled, you transform your entire being. You begin to think, act, and perceive in alignment with your desired reality. And as you do so, the external world has no choice but to reflect this new state back to you. This principle of feeling is your armor against the assaults of doubt and fear. For when you are filled with the feeling of your desire fulfilled, how can doubt find a foothold? How can fear take root? They simply cannot penetrate the radiant energy of your assumed state. But how do we generate these feelings? How do we create such vivid, transformative emotions? This brings us to our fourth principle, a principle that unlocks the full creative power of your mind. Principle 4, the power of imagination. As we progress in our understanding, we come to the fourth principle, the power of imagination. My dear friends, your imagination is not some idle fantasy factory. It is the very workshop of creation. It is the place where all things, all experiences, all states of being are first conceived before they are brought forth into physical reality. Einstein once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world, and all there ever will be to know and understand. Your imagination is the gateway to infinite possibilities. It is the realm where you can try on new states of being, where you can explore new realities, where you can shape your world according to your deepest desires. When you imagine, you are not merely daydreaming. You are engaging in the most profound act of creation. For remember, consciousness is the only reality, and your imagination is the tool by which you shape your consciousness. Imagine yourself as the person you wish to be. See yourself living the life you desire. Feel the emotions associated with your wish fulfilled. Do this vividly, do this often, and do this with the firm conviction that what you are imagining is not some far-off possibility, but a present reality. This principle of imagination is your sword against the limitations of your current circumstances. For how can your current reality constrain you when you can, at any moment, step into a new reality in your imagination? But what of the past? What of the memories and experiences that seem to contradict our desired state? This brings us to our fifth principle, a principle that grants you power over time itself. Principle 5, the art of revision. Now we come to a principle that many find particularly powerful, the art of revision. This principle teaches us that we can go back into our past and change it. Not in a physical sense, of course, but in our consciousness, which, as we've established, is the only reality. You might ask, but Neville, how can we change the past? Isn't it fixed? To this I say, the past only exists in your memory. And memory is not fixed. It is fluid, constantly being rewritten by your present state of consciousness. When you revise a past event, you are not denying that it happened. Rather, you are choosing to remember it differently. You are rewriting the story in a way that serves your present and future. For example, if you had an argument with a loved one, instead of replaying the argument over and over in your mind, reinforcing the negative emotions associated with it, you can revise it. Imagine the conversation going differently. See yourself and the other person coming to a loving understanding. Feel the warmth and connection between you. As you do this, you are not merely engaging in wishful thinking. You are actually reshaping your consciousness. And as your consciousness changes, your present reality must change to reflect it. This principle of revision is your time machine. It allows you to go back and plant seeds of positivity in your past, seeds that will bear fruit in your present and future. Or how can past events affect you when you have the power to revise them at will? But as we reshape our past and imagine our future, we must be careful not to fall into the trap of attachment. This brings us to our sixth principle, a principle that teaches us the power of letting go. Principle 6, the law of detachment. As we delve deeper into these principles, we come to one that many find challenging, the law of detachment. This law states that to manifest your desires, you must release your attachment to them. This may seem counterintuitive. You might think, but Neville, if I want something badly, shouldn't I focus on it intensely? The answer, paradoxically, is no. For intense focus often comes from a place of lack, a place of not having. And remember, what you assume, you create. Instead, cultivate a state of detachment. This doesn't mean you don't care about your desires. Rather, it means you trust so completely in the law of assumption, in the power of your consciousness, that you can relax into the knowing that your desire is already yours. Think of it this way. When you order a meal at a restaurant, do you sit there fretting about whether it will come? Do you constantly ask the waiter where your food is? No, you relax. You engage in conversation, you enjoy the ambience. You know your meal is being prepared and will arrive at the perfect time. In the same way, once you have placed your order with the universe through your assumption and feeling, relax. Trust in the process. Know that what you have assumed must come to pass in its own perfect timing. This principle of detachment is your shield against anxiety and impatience. For how can you be anxious about the future when you know with absolute certainty that your desire is already yours? But detachment does not mean inaction. It does not mean we sit back and wait for our desires to manifest. This brings us to our seventh principle, a principle that teaches us the power of consistent action. Principle 7, the power of persistence. Now, my dear listeners, we come to a principle that is crucial for your success, the power of persistence. This principle teaches us that we must persist in our assumption, regardless of any seeming contradictions in our external reality. Remember the story of Joshua and the walls of Jericho. For 6 days, Joshua and his army marched around the city, blowing their trumpets with no visible result. But on the 7th day, when they gave a mighty shout, the walls came tumbling down. This story beautifully illustrates the principle of persistence. Joshua and his men didn't give up when they saw no immediate results. They persisted in their assumption, in their faith, until their desire manifested. In the same way, you must persist in your assumption of your desired state. Even when your senses deny it, even when the world seems to contradict it, you must hold fast to your assumption. For remember, what you see in the external world is always the result of past assumptions. It tells you where you've been, not where you're going. Persistence doesn't mean struggle or strain. It simply means a calm, unwavering faith in the reality of your assumption. It means choosing again and again to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, regardless of any seeming evidence to the contrary. This principle of persistence is your steadfast companion on the journey of manifestation. For how can temporary setbacks discourage you when you know that your persistent assumption must eventually bear fruit? But persistence must be balanced with rest. It must be coupled with a deep sense of peace and completion. This brings us to our eighth principle, a principle that teaches us the power of divine rest. Principle 8, the Sabbath. As we continue our exploration, we come to a principle that is often overlooked but is of utmost importance, the principle of the Sabbath. In this context, the Sabbath is not a specific day of the week, but rather a state of mind, a state of rest and completion. After you have assumed your desire, after you have felt it real, after you have persisted in your assumption, there comes a point where you must rest. This rest is not inaction, but rather a deep, abiding peace that comes from knowing your desire is already yours. In the biblical account of creation, God rested on the 7th day, not because he was tired, but because the work was complete. In the same way, you must come to a point where you can rest in the absolute knowing that your desire is manifested. This state of Sabbath is characterized by a profound sense of gratitude. You are grateful not for what you will receive, but for what you have already received. For in consciousness, in the only reality that truly matters, your desire is already yours. Entering this Sabbath state is crucial for manifestation. It is the final seal on your assumption, the period at the end of your relation to the universe. It is the state from which miracles naturally flow. This principle of the Sabbath is your oasis of peace in the journey of creation. For how can you be disturbed by external circumstances when you rest in the deep knowing that all is well, all is complete? But as we rest in this state of completion, we must also understand the dynamic nature of creation. We must grasp the reciprocal relationship between our inner and outer worlds. This brings us to our ninth principle, a principle that reveals the true nature of cause and effect. Principle 9, the law of reversibility. Now, my dear friends, we come to a principle that may challenge your current understanding of cause and effect, the law of reversibility. This law states that while a physical fact can be the cause of an imagination, it is equally true that an imagination can be the cause of a physical fact. In other words, while it's true that external circumstances can affect your mental state, it's equally true that your mental state can affect external circumstances. And since you have direct control over your mental state, you have indirect but very real control over your circumstances. For example, it's commonly believed that wealth brings a feeling of abundance. And this can certainly be true. But it's equally true that cultivating a feeling of abundance can bring wealth. The same is true for any state or circumstance you desire. This principle of reversibility puts the power back in your hands. Instead of waiting for circumstances to change so that you can feel better, you can feel better now, knowing that this feeling will inevitably lead to improved circumstances. Remember, the external world is but a shadow of your consciousness. Change your consciousness, and the shadow must change. This is not wishful thinking or self-deception. This is working with the fundamental laws of creation. This principle of reversibility is your key to freedom from external conditions. For how can circumstances control you when you know that you can reverse the flow, creating circumstances from your chosen mental state? But to truly harness the power of all these principles, to become truly invincible to external influences, we must understand one final, all-encompassing principle. This brings us to our 10th and most profound principle, the principle that underpins all of creation. Principle 10, the I Am. And now, my dear listeners, we come to the 10th and most profound principle, the I Am. This principle is the foundation upon which all the others rest. It is the ultimate truth of your being. I Am is the name of God. And it is your name too, for you are not separate from God, but an individualized expression of the divine. When you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe. Whatever follows I am in your consciousness becomes your reality. If you say I am weak, you invoke and embody weakness. If you say I am strong, you invoke and embody strength. This is not mere positive thinking. This is aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. Understanding this principle, you realize that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances or internal states. You are the chooser of your state. At any moment, you can declare I am and follow it with whatever state you wish to embody. This principle of I Am is the ultimate shield against all that would affect you. For how can anything disturb you when you know that you are one with the creative power of the universe? My dear friends, as we conclude our exploration of these 10 principles, I want you to realize the immense power that lies within you. These principles are not mere theories or philosophical concepts. They are practical tools for living, keys to unlocking the infinite potential that resides within you. When you truly grasp these principles, when you live from them consistently, you become unshakable. Nothing can affect you because you know that you are the affecting power in your world. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. Imagine for a moment what your life would be like if you fully embodied these principles. Imagine moving through your days with the unshakable knowing that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Imagine facing challenges not with fear or anxiety, but with the calm certainty that you have the power to overcome them, to transform them, to use them for your growth and evolution. This is not a fantasy, my friends. This is your birthright. This is the truth of who you are. But remember, knowing these principles intellectually is not enough. You must apply them. You must live them. You must become them. Start now. Choose a state you wish to embody. Perhaps it's confidence, or abundance, or love. Assume that state. Feel it. Live from it. Persist in it. Revise your past to align with it. Detach from the outcome, knowing it's already yours. Enter the Sabbath, grateful completion. Understand that your assumption of this state is creating your reality, and declare with all the power of your being, I am, followed by your chosen state. As you do this, you will begin to see changes in your world. At first, they may be small. A shift in how people respond to you, a fortunate coincidence, an unexpected opportunity. But as you persist, As you deepen your understanding and application of these principles, the changes will become more profound. Your entire life will begin to reshape itself to match your new state of consciousness. And through it all, you will remain unaffected by the storms of life. For you will know with unshakable certainty that you are the weather maker. You are the creator of your reality. My dear friends, this is the promise of these 10 principles. This is the power that lies within you. Embrace it, live it, become it, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. But let us delve even deeper into the practical application of these principles, for it is in their consistent application that true mastery is achieved. Consider your daily life. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, you are constantly declaring your state of being. Every thought, every emotion, every reaction is a declaration of who you are. Are you declaring states of limitation and fear, or states of abundance and power? Begin to consciously choose your declarations. When you wake up in the morning, instead of immediately thinking about the challenges of the day ahead, declare, I am blessed, I am abundant, I am powerful. Feel the truth of these statements. Let them permeate your being. As you go about your day, be vigilant of your mental states. When you encounter a challenging situation, instead of reacting with anxiety or frustration, pause. Remember, this situation is but an outpicturing of your past assumptions. Then, consciously choose a new assumption. Declare, I am capable of handling this with ease and grace. Practice the art of revision throughout your day. If you have an unpleasant interaction with someone, don't let it linger in your consciousness. As soon as possible, close your eyes and revise the scene. See it playing out harmoniously. Feel the emotions of a pleasant, fulfilling interaction. This is not denial, this is conscious creation. Use your imagination constantly. Before important events or meetings, take a few moments to imagine them unfolding perfectly. See yourself speaking with confidence, being received warmly, achieving your desired outcomes. Feel the satisfaction and joy of these successful scenarios. Cultivate the state of the Sabbath. At the end of each day, before you sleep, enter a state of deep gratitude and completion. Regardless of what transpired during the day, choose to rest in the knowing that all is well. All is unfolding perfectly for your highest good. Practice detachment by focusing on the joy of the journey rather than the attainment of specific outcomes. Find pleasure in the process of growth and transformation. Trust that as you align yourself with these principles, your external reality must conform to your new state of consciousness. Remember the law of reversibility. If you find yourself in undesirable circumstances, instead of waiting for them to change so you can feel better, choose to feel better now. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, knowing that this feeling will inevitably bring about the circumstances you desire. And above all, be constant in your awareness of the I am. Let every thought, every word, every action be a conscious expression of your divine nature. For in this constant awareness lies true invincibility. My dear friends, as you integrate these principles into your daily life, you will find yourself becoming more and more impervious to external influences. You will no longer be swayed by the opinions of others, by temporary setbacks, or by apparent obstacles. For you will know with every fiber of your being that you are the creator of your reality. But this journey of mastery is not just for your own benefit. As you embody these principles, as you live from this elevated state of consciousness, you become a beacon of light in the world. You inspire others by your example. You show them what is possible when we fully embrace our divine nature. For remember, the world is yourself pushed out. As you transform your own consciousness, you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Every assumption of a higher state, every act of revision, every moment of Sabbath rest ripples out into the collective consciousness, elevating all of humanity. This is the true power of these principles. They not only free you from the influence of external circumstances, but they also empower you to become a force for positive change in the world. Imagine a world where more and more people understand and apply these principles. Imagine a collective consciousness rooted in abundance, love, and endless possibility. This is the world you are helping to create as you master these principles in your own life. So I urge you, my dear friends, to take these principles to heart. Study them, apply them, live them, or in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Go forth now, armed with this knowledge, empowered by this understanding. Be the conscious creator you were born to be. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. As you embody these principles, As you live from this elevated state of consciousness, you uplift all of humanity. You become a beacon of light, showing others what is possible when we fully embrace our divine nature. In closing, I want to remind you of a profound truth. You are not merely a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And armed with these 10 principles, you can make that human experience as glorious, as joyful, as abundant as you choose. Be bold in your assumptions. Be daring in your imagination. Be unwavering in your persistence. For you are the operant power in your world. You are the author of your life story. Nothing can affect you unless you allow it to affect your consciousness. Go now and create the life you've always dreamed of. For you are the architects of your own destiny, the creators of your own reality. Nothing can affect you when you live from these principles. For you are one with the creative power of the universe. And as you go forth, remember that this journey of mastery is ongoing. Each day presents new opportunities to deepen your understanding, to refine your application of these principles. Embrace these opportunities. Welcome the challenges that arise, for they are but invitations to prove the power of your consciousness. Let every experience, whether perceived as positive or negative, be a testament to your creative power. For in truth, there are no positive or negative experiences. There are only opportunities for growth, for deepening your understanding, for strengthening your faith in the power of your consciousness. As you continue on this path, you will find that your life becomes a living demonstration of these principles. You will become living proof of the transformative power of consciousness. And in doing so, you will inspire countless others to embark on their own journey of self-discovery and empowerment. My dear friends, the power to create the life you desire, the power to remain unaffected by external circumstances lies within you. It always has, and it always will. These 10 principles are simply keys to unlocking that power, to bringing it into your conscious awareness, so that you may wield it deliberately and effectively. So go forth with confidence, with joy, with the unshakable knowing that you are the master of your faith, the captain of your soul. Let nothing disturb your peace. Let nothing shake your faith. For you are one with the creative power of the universe, and in that oneness lies your invincibility. Thank you. And may your imagination be filled with wonders beyond measure. May your consciousness expand to embrace the infinite possibilities that lie before you. And may you always remember the truth of who you are, the operant power, the divine creator, the I Am. Let us begin with the fundamental law that governs all manifestation, the law of assumption. This law states simply that your outer world reflects your inner assumptions. What you believe to be true of yourself and your world must be made manifest in your experience. This is not a theory or a pleasant suggestion. It is an immutable law. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. These words from Proverbs contain the entire secret of successful living. Your consciousness, your concept of self, determines the world in which you live. The conditions, circumstances, and events of your life are but the outpicturing of your immanent beliefs. Many of you understand this intellectually, yet you continue to witness unwanted circumstances in your lives. Why is this so? It is because understanding alone is not enough. You must apply the law, and the application begins with detachment. The nature of detachment. What do I mean by detachment? Detachment is not indifference. It is not a cold withdrawal from life or a resignation to fate. Detachment, in its spiritual sense, is the recognition that you are not bound to your current circumstances, that you are not defined by your present conditions, and that you are free to assume a new state of consciousness regardless of appearances. Detachment means releasing your grip on the how and the when of your manifestation. It means surrendering the need to control the process by which your desire will be realized. This surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of spiritual strength. In the Bible we read, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness is detachment. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that the creative power within you, your own wonderful human imagination, is God, and that this power, once directed consciously, will externalize your assumptions in ways that your rational mind cannot conceive. So many of you struggle because you cannot see the bridge of incidents that will lead to your desire. You worry and fret over the means, desperately seeking to manipulate external conditions. This very anxiety reveals your attachment to appearances, your bondage to what is. And as long as you remain bound to what is, you cannot experience what could be. The impediment of attachment. attachment to outcomes, to specific means, to time frames. These are the chains that bind your creative power. When you insist that your desire must manifest in a particular way, you limit the infinite intelligence of God within you. You say, in effect, I know better than the divine wisdom how my good should come to me. Think of the farmer who plants a seed and then digs it up each day to see if it is growing. Such impatience and lack of faith in the natural process would prevent any harvest. Similarly, when you plant the seed of desire in your consciousness and then constantly unearth it through doubt, worry, and attachment to results, you interrupt the divine process of manifestation. I tell you truly, the entire universe conspires to fulfill your demanded assumptions. But this fulfillment comes through a bridge of incidents that your rational mind cannot and need not construct. Your work is not to build the bridge. Your work is to assume the end, the fulfillment, and to live in that assumption while the bridge builds itself. The process of letting go. Now, let us discuss the practical process of letting go. How does one detach from circumstances while remaining committed to a desire? The secret lies in what I call living in the end. To let go is to transfer your attention from the problem to the solution, from the lack to the fulfillment. It is to dwell mentally in the state of wish fulfilled, regardless of appearances. This dwelling is not a momentary visualization, but a sustained assumption. When you truly let go, you no longer feel the need to check on the status of your manifestation. You no longer feel anxiety about when or how it will appear. You rest in the comfortable certainty that what you have assumed in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. Consider the words of Scripture: whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. This is the essence of letting go. You pray, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you believe, live from that state as if it were already externalized, and then it manifests, becomes objectifying your world. The great obstacle to successful manifestation is the tendency to constantly check whether your desire has manifested. This checking is evidence of doubt, and doubt is a confession of attachment to current reality. To overcome this tendency, you must discipline your imagination to dwell exclusively in the end, in the state of fulfillment. The mental diet. This discipline requires what I call a mental diet. Just as you would carefully monitor what food you put into your physical body if you wish to maintain health, so must you monitor what thoughts you entertain in your mental body if you wish to manifest your desires. The mental diet consists of systematically rejecting any thought that contradicts your assumption of fulfillment. When doubts arise, and they will, you do not fight them or resist them, for what you resist persists. Instead, you simply withdraw your attention from the doubt and place it back on the assumption of fulfillment. This practice requires vigilance. The world is filled with evidence that will seem to contradict your assumption. Friends and family may tell you that your desire is impossible. Circumstances may appear to move in the opposite direction of your wish. In these moments, you must maintain your mental diet most rigorously. Remember, the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him. The natural man is your senses, your rational mind that accepts current reality as final. The Spirit of God is your imagination, which can conceive of realities that transcend current appearances. You must choose which you will serve, focusing on your own path. Now we come to the third aspect of our discussion, focusing on your own path. This is perhaps the most challenging aspect of manifestation, for the world is filled with distractions, with comparisons, with the opinions and judgments of others. To focus on your own path is to recognize that your journey is unique. Your desires, your timing, your bridge of incidents cannot be compared to anyone else's. The moment you begin to compare your progress with others, you have strayed from your path. There's a wonderful passage in the Gospel of John. After Peter had received instructions from the risen Christ, he turned and saw John following them. Peter asked Jesus, "Lord, what about him?" Jesus replied, "If I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You follow me." This is one of the most direct instructions concerning the need to focus on your own path. What is that to you? You follow me. These words apply to each of us. The path of another, their success, their timing, their method is irrelevant to your journey. Your task is to follow the Christ within you, the God self that speaks through your desires and guides you through your imagination. When you focus on others, comparing your progress, seeking their approval, fearing their judgment, you divert precious creative energy away from your manifestation. Every ounce of attention given to the opinion of others is an ounce taken from the assumption of your wish fulfilled. The correlation between detachment, letting go, and focus. These three principles, detachment, letting go, and focusing on your own path, are not separate techniques, but different aspects of the same spiritual practice. Each reinforces and enables the others. When you truly detach from current circumstances, you naturally let go of anxiety about results. When you let go of anxiety about results, you find it easier to focus on your own path without comparing yourself to others. And when you focus on your own path without comparison, you strengthen your detachment from external validation. This virtuous cycle creates a state of consciousness that is optimally receptive to manifestation. It clears away the obstacles that have prevented the externalization of your desires. It aligns your creative power with your conscious intentions, the true nature of reality. To fully embrace these principles, you must understand the true nature of reality. The world you experience is not an objective, independent reality separate from your consciousness. It is the outpicturing of your assumptions, the projection of your beliefs. The universe is mental, declares the Hermetic principle. All that you experience is created first in consciousness and then projected outward as experience. This means that to change your world, you need not manipulate external conditions. You need only change your assumptions. This is the great liberation. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. You are not subject to the whims of fate, but the author of your destiny. The power to transform your life lies not in coincidence, but in controlling your assumptions about yourself and your world. The practice of revision. Now I wish to share with you a powerful technique for detachment and letting go, the practice of revision. Revision is the art of reimagining past events in a way that aligns with your desired self-concept and life experience. At the end of each day, before you sleep, review the events that were unsatisfactory or that contradicted your desired state. In your imagination, revise these events. See them playing out differently in a way that aligns with your wish fulfilled. If someone was unkind to you, imagine them being courteous and respectful. If you failed at a task, imagine yourself succeeding brilliantly. If you received bad news, imagine receiving good news instead. This practice is not mere wishful thinking or denial of reality. It is the conscious application of the creative power of your imagination to rewrite the impressions in your subconscious mind. Since your subconscious accepts as true whatever you impress upon it, revision allows you to replace limiting impressions with empowering ones. Through consistent revision, you gradually detach from the limiting story of your past and create a new foundation for your future. You let go of grievances, disappointments, and failures, replacing them with experiences that support your new self-concept. The inner conversation. Another powerful practice for detachment and focusing on your path is to monitor and revise your inner conversation. Your inner conversation, the things you say to yourself, and the imaginary conversations you have with others, reveals and reinforces your true assumptions. Most people's inner conversations are filled with worries, justifications, rehearsals of grievances, and defenses against imagined criticisms. These mental dialogues keep them bound to unwanted circumstances and diverted from their true path. To transform your life, transform your inner conversation. Imagine hearing the congratulations of friends on your success. Imagine discussing your achievement as a fait accompli. Imagine the conversations that would follow naturally if your desire were already fulfilled. As you discipline your inner conversation, you will find that detachment becomes easier. You will naturally let go of anxiety about results because your mental world is already filled with the evidence of fulfillment. You will focus more easily on your own path because your inner dialogue affirms your unique journey rather than comparing it to others. The Sabbath rest. There comes a point in the manifestation process where all the work is done. You have planted the seed of assumption. You have nourished it with attention. You have protected it through mental diet. and now it must grow of its own accord. This is what I call the Sabbath rest. In the Bible, God created for 6 days and rested on the seventh, declaring his work complete and good. This is a pattern for all creation, including the creation of your desires in manifestation. There comes a time to rest, to cease all effort, to simply know that it is done. This Sabbath state is the highest form of detachment. It is the absolute confidence that your creative work is complete in consciousness and must now objectify itself in experience. In this state, there is no anxiety, no checking, no effort to make it happen. There is only the quiet knowing that what has been planted must come to harvest. Many miss their manifestations because they cannot enter this Sabbath rest. They continue to work, to effort to manipulate conditions long after the creative act is complete. This continued effort implies doubt, and doubt negates the assumption of fulfillment. Learn to recognize when your work is done in consciousness. Learn to say, as the Christ within you says, it is finished. Then rest in that knowing, detached from appearances, letting go of control, focus solely on the truth established in your imagination. The testing of faith, the period between the planting of your assumption and its visible manifestation, is a testing of faith. During this interval, appearances may contradict your assumption. Doubts may arise. Others may question your certainty. These tests are not obstacles but opportunities to strengthen your new consciousness. Each time you choose your assumption over appearances, you deepen your faith. Each time you detach from discouraging circumstances, you strengthen your creative power. Each time you let go of anxiety about results, you accelerate the manifestation process. Remember the words of Scripture, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith, your persistent assumption is the means to acquire your desire. It is the substance of the desire itself, already present in consciousness, awaiting externalization. When doubts arise, do not fight them or fear them. Simply recognize them as remnants of your old consciousness, the consciousness you are transcending through your new assumption. Then gently but firmly return to your assumption, knowing that what you are conscious of being, you must become. The divine indifference. There is a state of consciousness that I call divine indifference. This is not apathy or lack of interest in your desires. It is the serene knowing that your assumption, once firmly established in consciousness, must manifest regardless of appearances or time frames. Divine indifference allows you to pursue your daily activities without anxiety, without constantly checking for evidence, without the inner tension that comes from attachment to outcomes. It is the ability to live contentedly in the present moment while knowing that your future is secure in your assumption. This state might be described as earnest expectancy without anxiety. You are expectant because you know the law must fulfill your assumption. You are without anxiety because you know the law must fulfill your assumption. The certainty removes the need for concern. When you achieve this divine indifference, you will find that manifestations come more easily and more frequently. The very detachment accelerates the process, for it removes the resistance caused by doubt, worry, and over-attention. The naturalness of your desire. Another key to successful detachment is to recognize the naturalness of your desire. Your desires are not random whims or egoic fantasies. They are the voice of God within you, calling you to express more of your divine nature, to experience more of the abundance that is your birthright. When you see your desires in this light, detachment becomes easier. You no longer feel that you are grasping for something beyond your desert or fighting against the order of things. You recognize that the fulfillment of your desire is as natural as the blooming of a flower or the rising of the sun. This recognition eliminates the sense of struggle that accompanies so many people's manifestation efforts. You need not fight for your good. You need only align your consciousness with it through assumption. You need not force your desire into being. You need only provide the conditions in consciousness for its natural unfoldment. As Jesus said, consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, they toil not, neither do they spin. The lily does not strain to become a lily. It simply unfolds according to its nature. Similarly, your desires unfold naturally when you align your consciousness with their fulfillment. The state akin to sleep. There is a particular state of consciousness that facilitates detachment and the impregnation of your subconscious with new assumptions. I call this the state akin to sleep, a drowsy, receptive state where the rational mind is temporarily quieted and the subconscious is especially receptive to suggestion. In this state, which you can enter just before sleep, upon awakening, or through deliberate relaxation during the day, your imagination has direct access to the subconscious. The images and feelings you entertain in this state are accepted without the interference of the rational mind's doubts and objections. Use this state to impress your desire upon the subconscious. Feel yourself into the state of wish fulfilled. Experience in imagination the joy and gratitude of having what you desire. Then allow yourself to drift into sleep or to return to normal consciousness, knowing that the seed has been planted. This practice, performed consistently, will gradually transform your dominant assumptions about yourself and your world. As your assumptions change, your experience must change to match them. This is the law, the freedom of consciousness. The ultimate secret of detachment is the recognition that you are pure consciousness. You are not your body, your circumstances, your history, or your possessions. You are the awareness in which all these things appear. This recognition is liberation. When you know yourself as consciousness rather than content, you can change the content at will. You are no longer bound to any particular set of circumstances because you recognize that circumstances are projections of your assumptions, not independent realities. From this perspective, detachment is not something you do, it is the recognition of what you are. You are naturally detached from all conditions because you are the consciousness in which conditions appear, not the conditions themselves. This is the meaning of Jesus' statement, "Be in the world, but not of the world." To be in the world is to participate in the experiences of human life. To be not of the world is to recognize that you transcend these experiences, that you are the consciousness that witnesses and creates them. The practice of I am. To strengthen this recognition of your true nature, practice what I call the I am meditation. Set aside time each day to sit quietly and focus on the feeling of pure existence, the feeling of I am. Before you identify with any particular attribute or condition, before you say I am rich or I am poor, I am successful or I am failing, there is the pure awareness of being. This awareness is your true self, your God self. As you rest in this awareness, you naturally detach from limiting conditions. You recognize that all descriptors that follow I am are assumptions that you are free to change. You are not inherently any particular condition. You are the consciousness that assumes conditions. From this state of pure awareness, you can then consciously choose the assumptions that will shape your experience. You can say with full conviction, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am fulfilled, knowing that these statements define your consciousness and therefore must define your experience. The transformation of identity. Manifestation at its core is not about acquiring things or changing circumstances. It is about transforming your identity, your concept of self. When your self-concept changes, your world must change to reflect it. Most people try to change their lives by manipulating external conditions while maintaining the same self-concept. This is why their efforts so often fail. The external always conforms to the internal. Your circumstances are the shadow cast by your concept of self. To create lasting change, you must adopt a new identity. You must see yourself as the person who already has what you desire, who already is what you wish to be. This identity shift is the essence of assumption. When you truly assume a new identity, detachment from old conditions happens naturally. You no longer worry about how or when your desire will manifest, because in consciousness, from the perspective of your new identity, it has already manifested. You are simply waiting for the outer to catch up with the inner. The persistence of assumption. The final key to successful manifestation is persistence in your assumption. This does not mean effortful striving or constant affirmation. It means returning to your assumption whenever you become aware that your thoughts have strayed from it. Your old beliefs and assumptions have momentum. They have been reinforced over years or decades of thinking, and they will not be replaced by a single session of imagining. You must persist in your new assumption until it becomes as natural and habitual as your old assumption once was. This persistence is not a burden, but a practice. Like learning any new skill, it requires attention at first, but eventually becomes second nature. There will come a time when your new assumption is so deeply established that you no longer need to consciously maintain it. It will have become your dominant belief, your natural way of being. Until that time, gently but firmly return to your assumption whenever you notice that your thoughts or feelings contradict it. Do not chastise yourself for lapses. Simply correct your course. The more consistently you maintain your assumption, the sooner it will manifest in experience. Conclusion: the promise fulfilled. My dear friends, I have shared with you tonight the great secret of manifestation: detachment, letting go, and focusing on your own path. This secret is not new. It has been taught by spiritual masters throughout the ages in various forms and languages. Jesus taught it when he said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Buddha taught it when he identified attachment as the source of suffering and detachment as the path to liberation. Krishna taught it in the Bhagavad Gita when he instructed Arjuna to perform his duty without concern for the fruits of his action. This teaching transcends all religious and philosophical boundaries because it is not a belief but a law, as immutable as gravity. When you assume a state in consciousness and detach from appearances, that state must objectify itself in your experience. This is not magic or mysticism. It is the creative process by which all experience comes into being. I challenge you to test this law in your own life. Select a desire, something you truly want to be, do, or have. Formulate a clear assumption that would be true if this desire were fulfilled. Then live from that assumption while detaching from appearances, letting go of anxiety about results, and focusing on your own path without comparison to others. Do this consistently, and I promise you that your assumption must harden into fact. The seed planted in consciousness must grow into manifestation. The word spoken in the silence of assumption must become flesh in the world of form. Remember always, all things are possible to him that believeth. Your belief, your assumption maintained with detachment and persistence, is the creative power that shapes your world. Use this power consciously, and there are no limits to what you can create in your life. Go now in peace, dwelling in the certainty that your desires are already fulfilled in consciousness and must by law externalize themselves in your experience. God bless you, my friends, and remember, imagination creates reality.